The Geyer Anderson Museum was one of the most interesting museums that I visited on my trip to Egypt last year, which was surprising because it has almost nothing to do with ancient Egypt. Let's take a look in this episode of Museums with Melissa. The Geyer Anderson Museum is an art museum located in Islamic Cairo, adjacent to the Mosque of Ahmed ibn Tulun. The museum is technically a historic house and is noted for being one of the examples of 17th century domestic architecture left in Cairo. Its name comes from Major Robert Grenville Geyer Anderson Pasha, who resided in the house between 1935 and 1942. He was part of the Royal Army Medical Corps and the Egyptian Army, and eventually became the senior inspector of the Egyptian Ministry of the Interior. He lived in the house with permission from the Egyptian government after he retired, and he had many interests in both Egyptology and modern Egyptian studies. He oversaw a lot of the restoration of the house, including adding electricity and plumbing, and populated the buildings with his personal collection of art furnishings and carpets. When he was forced to leave Egypt by his ill health in 1942, he gifted the contents of the house to the Egyptian government, and King Farouk gave him the title of Pasha in return. He later died in 1945 in England. The museum consists of two houses built using the outer wall of the mosque as support. The larger house on the east was built in 1632 by Hajj Muhammad ibn al-Hajj Salem ibn Galman al-Ghazar. It later came into the possession of a wealthy Muslim woman from Crete, and the house became popularly known as the Beit al-Kritliya, or the House of the Cretan Woman. The second house to the west was built in 1540 by Abd Qadar al-Haddad. The two houses were joined by a bridge at the third floor level at an unknown point. I will admit the museum is kind of massive in its own way and a little bit like a maze, but honestly that made it even more magical to walk through. There were absolutely amazing furnishings and architectural designs within the building, and everywhere you looked there was something else to see. At one point, there's also a secret room behind a staircase that looked down over the grand reception room. There are also rooms that are themed around particular time periods, like the Persian room or the Byzantine room or the Damascus room. My favorite, which was a big surprise, was a small ancient Egyptian room that contained quite a few ancient Egyptian objects. Unfortunately, the room was way too dark to be able to get any good footage, but I was very happy to see these objects featured. If you are in Cairo and you want to learn more about its Islamic history, I definitely recommend going to this museum or going to see the Mosque of Ibn Tulun. They are all very close to Khad el Khalili, which is the big Islamic market that is surrounding Old Cairo, which has some amazing architecture and mosques that I highly recommend everyone go and see.